Happy Thursday, Pat.
Hey, Rick, how you doing, buddy?
We're doing it a
Mixing it up.
little, mixing it up a little bit because it got Good Friday tomorrow, and people are going to be traveling like me. So, but hey, before we get started, I thought just for giggles, you guys would enjoy this. I saw this on a Facebook group, and it's a freeway sign. Realtors slow down. Offer was accepted 5 minutes ago.
Was that here?
No, it almost looks like it, but it's not. It's I don't know where it is, but I thought that's pretty funny. So anyway, we got a bunch of stuff to cover today. Nothing alarming, but there's some interesting numbers out there. So we'll get through it. And I always like to start with my 7-day moving average, right?
Yep.
And this just keeps getting more and more interesting. Let me move this over just a hair. The yellow arrow there is last year, right?
Yep.
See, and then, March is always and April's our spring, buying season. And, but not this year. You can see off to the right, that red line is going down, but it's not going down like anything monumental or tragic. And, hello, Timmy. But it is down. And the gap between new listings coming up and homes going under contract continues to grow on a weekly basis. Shrank just a little bit here, but it does that the closer we get to the weekend. This weekend, we kind of have to take those numbers with a grain of salt because, we have Easter Sunday. So that's going to put a dip in it. And you see that right here. Mm-hmm. See that? Everything went down. That little red dip, that's Easter Sunday last year. So, and then this green line is the lowest number of homes we've ever had go under contract, which is 2,700. So we have a ways to go, but we're definitely seeing some slowdown there. There's no doubt, and it's a direct result of the huge spike in rates that we saw, and but it was more the kind of the 1-2 punch, wasn't it? I mean, not just the spike in rates, but at the velocity that it came on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we went from low. Once again, sometimes we probably some days or some weeks we act like a broken record, but this market's been kind of a broken record for like the last year and a half.
Well, you did go up on a national average of 5.25 and then came down to 4.99 yesterday, and today it's 5.15. So,
Yeah, I mean, right now here, can you pull up? I get the chart here. We're this is basically this is from March 1st. These are rates. This is the 10-year basically, which obviously does the 10-year right here. Today had didn't have a good day. It was down 64 basis points. That's the price. This is the rate. I mean, obviously 2.82. The 10-year went over 280 today. You saw, basically from really, yeah. I mean, let's just call it March 3rd. Let's just call it a little over a month. We saw the 10-year go from 170 to 280. When that's just, that's a huge spike. I mean, we were seeing low to mid threes. Now we're seeing, some retail banks mid five. So, it definitely is going to have, bottom line is boiling it down. It's going to have an effect on people. Let's just use common sense in our analysis versus speculation and emotion. Bottom line is
kind of wanted to talk too about, what options do buyers have out there? Are you seeing any new lending products coming out? And I don't mean subprime 2006 silliness, but is there anything out there that looks kind of attractive?
Well, the thing of it is, banks are trying to, like I said, banks are trying to, talk to people about arms, 10-1 arms, 7-1 arms. But the problem is a lot of the banks, on my pricing on my broker side, to be honest with you, I haven't seen anything really that's been great on the 10 and 7-1 arm. I think, honestly, my honest answer is some local banks. I'm going to put a plug in for not me, but, just in general, I think, just in looking at it, that banks have got their own portfolio. They're going to be a little bit better on the arms right now. And jumbo pricing has been good for, brokers. Typically myself can't compete against the banks, the big banks like Chase and Wells for jumbo. I'm just stating a fact, and I'm being honest. I mean, because they want to compete for their wealthier clients. If you got a $3-4 million or $5 million plus, they'll offer you low to mid 3% range to get a jumbo loan. Basically it comes with conditions as far as bringing money over to the bank. But so ARMs are going to be definitely popular because there's consensus saying that the feds are going to raise, if they do 6, 8, 9, 10 rate, they're going to probably, go to, they're not going to be perfect on this perfect landing. They're not going to hit the landing. It's going to be, if they raise it that many times, I think you're going to see a hard landing. They're talking about recession. What was this question here? A lot. You want to bring up that question?
A lot of housing YouTubers saying that the rate increase will cause buyers to jump out of the market and induce a crash. However, won't it just cause people to purchase in lower price points? Well,
yeah.
First of all, I can say, we're just YouTubers.
Yeah.
So you got to take that with a grain of salt. But you have to look at the numbers and try to see what's happening. So,
yeah.
I mean, rates go up. Are they going to go into lower price points? Yeah, they will. They tend to gravitate towards condos and townhomes, and then try to get in lower price points. But I think what's different this time that's making things harder is the mere fact that there's so much institutional investor traffic. Now, rates going up, and I'm going to share some rental data here in a couple minutes, but rates going up, like on 10-year treasuries, might make them want to put their money somewhere else.
Yeah. Hey, Jackie.
No, Jackie, we save all the good stuff for when you come on. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes we don't even think we're going to do the show until you show up. So you're our senior research analyst. So there's hopefully some opportunities that investors can take their money and put it somewhere safer and make a good return and kind of give us a little bit of a break. But I'll share some numbers here in a couple minutes. But
I just want to go back to, as far as that, I think, the rate, like I said, the rates psychologically, rates going from 3, low to, the mid 5s. Let's just, honestly, it's going to take some people out of the market. It's just going to take, just looking at common sense wise, is it going to cause a crash? No, I think things are going to, it's going to take some of the bloom off, of this market a little bit, but people are waiting. Like I said, we're going to share some information later on this show, obviously, that you and I have from Cromford. You've been on that. I was on this Cromford webinar the other day, and I'll share that with you. But it just seems like things are gonna, the tipping point has been kind of curved off. It's a little bit, it's rolling off a little bit. Less people qualify, but it's still, once again, everything I've seen, it's supply and demand.
Well, there's some interesting stuff going on too. That when you look at all this institutional buying. So let me give you an example. Like Zillow bought something like, I don't know, 3,000 homes in this market, and then they started dumping them. And they dumped them to investors that turned them into rentals.
Yeah.
And then you've got these build to rent communities. And just to give you an idea how aggressive that is, single family rental supply has doubled in 1 year. And the average rent in those single family housing, not apartments, not townhomes, has gone down 18%. That's going to start taking the wind out of the sails for institutional investors eventually. You're not going to see it next Thursday. But Derek says, if there was a recession, what do you think would happen to house prices? If they drop, how much would you expect? That's going to, if I knew the answer to that, I wouldn't be sitting at this desk. But I think, you can look up the numbers and see that there's recessions where it didn't hurt housing at all.
No, the only time there was I think in one of these things I've got, the only time housing prices were hurt in any recession was the 0809. That was the only time.
And that's because the housing started the recession, the housing dip.
Exactly. And, so anybody out there thinking we're going to see a crash, are we going to see a pullback? Yeah, we might see a pullback of, like you said, going back, you can reiterate, people get seller concessions first. They don't lower the sales price. They do seller concessions if it's on the market, and they start from there. And I
I'm
don't see
seeing
any.
some sales prices come down, but
Yeah.
it's not. From they used to. Well, let's see. What did my chart used to show here? It showed people were lowering their prices to the tune of about 1,400 homes every 7 days. Now they're up to 1,800. So that again isn't an alarming number.
No.
Stephen Van Meter is saying crash in China's real estate market could affect to the USA. He's kind of saying that it's going to hurt our credit markets. But then again, I like Steve. I like watching him. But wasn't he saying that we were going to have this amazing bond market rally and rates would be cheap, Pat?
Yeah. Yeah. He's
So
nobody's right. Nobody's always right. I mean, Barry Habib, who's the MBS Highway, says that, we're probably going to have another refinance boom here. He's saying, I think it was like, next year, 2023, 2024, he was saying that we could see rates back to where we were before.
well, that's what wouldn't bother me about a 7-year arm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What's
I
your
mean,
opinion of this chatter about 40-year mortgages?
you know what? I mean, one thing, it's typically they're interest only. A lot of them are, they have this little goofy interest only gig. And I haven't really, I've seen a few lenders come out with them. It's just good. It's probably not, honestly, I'm throwing in the towel. It's probably not a bad thing if it allows somebody to get into a home.
True,
I
true.
mean, 30 years, what's the difference between 30 years, 40 years? I mean, nobody's in their house for 30 years anyway. Nobody's in their house for 40 years. So who really cares? It just allows you to get into the home.
Yeah, that's
So,
true. That's true.
as long as if it's, like I said, there's a 40-year, I guess there's some interest only component to it. You could probably just get in the home and pay more. Like I said, bottom line is I'm all for right now, as long as it's not some goofy, like the negative amortization loan or something like that, can go negative. Like I said, if any product that can get somebody into a home, right now I kind of thrown in the towel and saying, you know what, let's go for it. Because, we've got, remember the number? I can't remember the number. It was like, it was some in the trillions as far as how much equity people have.
Yeah.
If you look at all the factors, the equity that people have built over the last 10 years, the loan programs, more solid loan programs, we didn't have this regulation that we have in the mortgage business like we do now back in 08, 09. It came in 2010, 11, all this compliance. So everything that, like I said, when I do a full doc loan, people get frustrated because I'm asking them for this and asking them for that. I said, once again, I tell people this is all to protect you and everybody else. So once again, all the factors I see, I don't see a crash. I see the bloom coming off. Everything goes up, everything goes down.
Yeah, something has to happen. It's a little out of whack right now. I'm going to dip into a couple quick things here on Cromford stuff, and then I want to move on to what you have there. But this is the active listing counts, which is by day. I thought it was just kind of a different look. If I look at listing counts medium term, it's showing you that they're going up, but we're nowhere near 2020 levels.
Yeah.
And we're, 4986. Today we have 5,100 homes. And we did have a subscriber ask me if I could dip my toes into Maricopa, City of Maricopa, just for a little bit. And that one is because that's the other thing that happens when home prices go up and rates go up is people drive farther.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you agree? I mean, they're just the outlying areas will start seeing more activity. And out there in Maricopa right now, only 42% of homes are going over list price. That's still a lot, but not compared to other cities. I think we're 56% overall in this market. But then you look down here, and the prices between 300 and 400,000. They're the 58 homes that sold. The average is over $10,000, but that again's a goofy number because you see where it says minimum over list was $90 and the maximum over list was 40,000. So you never know where people are going to land when you got the offers coming. You just don't. And 400 to 500,000, his average is 6,000. But there you go again. The minimum over list is $10, and the maximum was 41,500. So it's impossible to predict. All you can do is before you write your offers, have the agent say, "Hey, what's it looking like?" Have an honest conversation. Was it? Do you have a lot of bids? Are they aggressive? What do you think we're walking into? and just try to figure that out. But the listings in Maricopa earlier in the year were actually rising faster than anywhere else. And I think I'm going to just stick my neck out and say it's because they have so much new construction out there that the resale homes were not flying off the shelf as fast as they used to. You can see here we're at 191, and last year we were at 80 listings. So we're almost up to that 2020 level before we hit this pandemic shutdown right here. That's that big dip. So we may hit that and ride it out straight.
Mm-hmm.
So they are progressing faster than most cities when it comes to, the lowering of bidding prices and new listings coming on, and drive till you qualify, they used to say. Do you think second home market will take a hit? Places like Happy Jack, Strawberry, and Pine, it already is.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could see. I mean, I'm kind of, I'm just there's
For
once
two
again,
reasons. One of them being water.
Yeah, I mean, I've been reading and seeing just bits and pieces here, and picking up on Facebook comments. You gather up a lot of information. You try to come to some conclusion. It seems like the second home, people are cooling off on that second home because I mean it's basically a 4 point hit. So on a 400, say a $400,000 second home, that's about a $16,000 pricing hit. And people are like, you know what, I'm gonna rate with rates going up. People that might have had to finance a second home, they're like, I'm sure it's backing off some people. It's had some effect. To what it has, I couldn't really tell you. But you're
so
pulling
this is
up
that Cromford one that you went this
yeah. I was on this Cromford this webinar for about an hour and a half. What's her name? Tina
Tambor.
Yeah. And I'll throw it out to our millions of subscribers that what I did was I took a screenshot of pretty much, I'm just going to run through. I took a screenshot of all the stuff that was on the webinar. I think I only missed I might've missed one or two that were kind of just boring slides, but I took a snapshot of all these during the webinar. So I will throw it out to our millions of subscribers. If you want a copy of this, I can email it to you. Just, maybe put in, if you want to email me, I think you got my email on this.
Yeah, I put your email in the body down below.
Yeah. If anybody wants a copy of that to kind of come to their own conclusion, read it. There's a lot of information. She talks about what affects demand, population, relocation, interest rates. She goes in, one thing I kind of came to the conclusion. You look at some of these charts, some of this stuff over the years, these percentages don't really, change. It's just, I mean, you look at some of this stuff is pretty steady through, the years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, she talks about iBuyers, and she talks about affordability. Like I said, I took a snapshot of all these. So if anybody wants it, I can email it to anybody that, emails me. I'll send you a copy of it. It's just in a Word document.
Yeah, it's a good read. I encourage people, get that from Pat. Sit down and take a look at it, because that's raw Cromford mathematical data, demographics. You're going to get way more information on that than we try to give you here in about a half an hour. And she covers absolutely everything. And it's a good read. LJR says, interesting article in Denver Post saying people are leaving Denver after COVID began. I wonder if people realize it's too expensive to live there. Could be, but people are still buying homes in Denver.
Well, no, I think you should live here.
Live here. Wait a minute. Look at that. Leaving Denver after I wonder if people realize too expensive to live here. Oh, I'm sorry. This is where the jobs are right now. You look at the number of jobs that are coming in and demographics, and you'll see it in this deck. That it's hard to have a disconnect and say, with all of this activity coming in, that people are going to leave Phoenix. Now, there's going to be a fair amount of people that are going to say it's too expensive, I'm out. I see that in the YouTube comments, but it's not enough to make up for the thousands upon thousands of people that are moving here with all the new, warehouse jobs, manufacturing jobs, tech jobs. It's hard to walk away from that. I mean, I remember my career, I lived where I had to live for my job to feed my kids. So it's kind of, I encourage people, get this sheet. What's
that? Get this. Yeah. Yeah, if you email me, I'll email it to you. I mean, she goes over some, the rental information, how, the rentals, she's talking about how the rental supply, and she talks about 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom. It's kind of interesting. I did ask her, I kind of gleaned some information. She said the ideal rental is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house. Not, she goes, you start getting things start getting itchy in 3 and 4-bedroom rentals. She went over 5-bedroom rentals, and the rental supply in Pima County has gone up. She talks about that. She talks about Gilbert rental supply, Queen Creek rental supply, and then look at the rental vacancy rates right now. Are down
Yeah, they're
here.
about 4 something, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
4.8. And I mean, bottom line is, so I said I think people can glean a lot of information. This is kind of interesting. This is kind of what I look at too, the market cycle, because I just look at, remember I called you my Christmas party
Yes. Yeah.
theory, where back in the mortgage business, back in '08 or back in '05, '06, people were having Christmas parties at these nice places. I'm like, okay, something's getting crazy here. And then '08, '09, and 10, the one mortgage company I had, we had a white elephant Christmas party in our conference room.
Yeah.
And then now, and, in 16, 17, 18, 19, 2000, 20, 21, and people are having, Christmas parties at Steak 44 and these nice steak joints. So obviously that to me is I call my Christmas party theory. And, she goes, she's seeing the different euphorias. You see optimism, then you see enthusiasm. The market does go through this. I mean, you see euphoria, then unease. I think, right now, I think we're kind of in this unease because, you kind of get this uneasiness, and then people get this denial of what's going on. And then you get pessimism. We might be kind of in that cycle a little bit,
Yeah, we're definitely not near panic and capitulation yet. But remember, when you look at that chart too, that we've always said that, nobody rings a bell and says this is the bottom. But
No.
if we start getting more inventory and prices are going down, or at least they're staying flat, at that point, the iBuyers are no longer playing. The
Yeah.
iBuyers are out. Somebody's got to tell me I'm wrong on that, but no more open door, no more offer pad. They're not making money now when
Well,
real
look at
estate's
this.
going up
This is
25%. But I think what'll happen is nobody's going to want to buy when it's the perfect time to buy. Even people that are saying, I can't wait for the crash, I guarantee you won't pull the trigger because you'll be too scared.
Yeah. Nobody.
It'll be nothing but bad news.
Yep. And she talked about, Tina talked about how she said, she made an interesting point. She said back in '08, '09, it was the small person who took the risk, right?
Yeah.
Now she says, really, Wall Street's taking the risk now.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of said the risk is kind of flipping on people. And she talked about that a little bit in this. I thought, it was a long webinar, but she talked about open door and the iBuyers, but she was talking about also, did you see how she was saying how, let me see if I can find, I don't know, maybe I went by it, but she said how open door and let me see if I can find it.
How Wall Street,
how much money they're losing.
Yeah, you blew by it. Yeah,
Oh,
they were losing. I think Open Door was 400 or 500 million last quarter. They lost more than Zillow.
Yeah, I mean,
and I don't get it. I don't know how the model is.
Yeah, right here. Zillow lost 528 million in 2021. Zillow lost 800 million since 2018. Open Doors lost 662 million in 2021. So they're the ones. The risk is kind of flipped from the individual to now Wall Street.
Well, and nothing happens to the market if those guys go belly up. I mean, you'll just people will sell generally to
they'll just get
to using traditional agents. Those guys will just go away. And when the market gets harder, you'll want more marketing. I get it. I get why they're so popular, because you can just fill out something online, send them pictures of your house. They come out and inspect it. It's the only time they enter your house, and then they say, when do you want to close? And it's a cash deal. So I get it. But if Open Door respond to good offers and sell the houses, they might just make money.
Yeah.
But you know what, Jackie? 20% of their purchases they turned around and sold to institutional investors to use as rentals.
Yeah.
And we don't, what price did they do that? And, and if they would accept good offers, they, I don't know. They're hard to tell. It's a strange world out there in that business. Now there's some
That's what's
Well,
making it so hard to figure
yeah.
out.
Interesting change in our local MLS. They put, in the MLS, you have these things called public remarks. When you're describing the house, walk into this beautiful dining room and, all that stuff. It's cozy and everything. Well, and then there's, oh, Jaggers gone. I see them listed 90 days with price reductions and then don't answer when you send an offer. That just tells me they're too busy. And the person answering the phone they have no skin in the game, where an agent wants that sale, right? And they'll want to save the deal. And I had one almost blow up over $250. And it got to the point where I said, look, I know you're probably not the one making the decision, but I'm going to send you an email on what we're going to do. And I want you to sign it so we can close today.
Yep.
and she did. But so anyway, getting back to that public remarks, when you go in public remarks, that shows up on everybody's website, like Zillow, Realtor.com, the stuff that you put in there. Well, now they're telling us there's things they don't want to see in there. Transactional phrases are no longer allowed, as is attention investors, cash buyer preferred. They don't want this in the public remarks. And look at this other one that says 8-hour home sale. Now, I'm chuckling at that because is it really 8-hour, or are they actually pointing to a local company that is 3 days? And I see one here, and this is the public remarks right here, and you can't see it, but it goes 72-hour sale.
Yeah.
And I'll just gonna say it's 72 sold, but but then it says, here's what gets you. They're telling you can't come in and see it until the open house, right? And they're letting you in for 2.5 hours. But then in the private remarks, which this doesn't go out on Zillow, it doesn't go out on Realtor.com, seller reserves the right to entertain and accept any offer prior to showings. So they increase the hype, and then you can get in there and take a look at the home before anybody else can get in there. And I'm trying to look up something here for us. Somebody's going to buy it before you even make time to go see it at the open house. Now, the other thing that I want to encourage people is, like, here's a search that I put together. Okay. And it's just general: Gilbert, Chandler, Tempe, 500 to 700,000 single family homes. I can choose right here if I just want to send you active homes or active and coming soon. Now, there's a new website out there now that's saying, go to this website and sign up, and you can see listings before anybody else. All that website is doing is grabbing the data from here, this MLS, populated on their website. So when you have a real estate agent set up a search for you, ask them to send you coming soon listings too, because they're not all as far out as you think they are. Some coming soons are only saying coming soon for like 2 days before they go live. Some of them, when I look at them and they say coming soon, I look and it says coming soon, but I'll be damned they aren't listed. So, so this one, let's see, price reduced, new listing. I don't see one popping up here real quick. I don't want to waste anybody's time, but so make sure your agent includes that when he sends you those lists. Make sure you include coming. You don't need to sign up on another website to do that. They have a new tactic of raising prices based off of pre-market offers now. Interesting.
Yeah. It seems like there's just a lot of
that. I've seen that. What she means by that is this thing's coming soon and you're not going to get to see it till Saturday. But in the meantime, they're getting offers. So let's say they're asking on one of these, 540,000. And then by the time Saturday rolls up, they've marked it up to 560. I've seen that.
Yeah. You know what? I just don't understand. If somebody,
Thanks,
I don't know.
LDR.
Thank you very much, LDR. I just,
there's too many gimmicks in a busy market. There's too many gimmicks.
Yeah, that's what blows my mind. I'm just not a gimmicky guy. It just blows my mind. It's got to be frustrating. I mean, for you and an agent, I feel bad for agents out there because the BS that people are going through, whether it's driving around seeing 30, 40, homes. Like I said, my buddy doesn't want to take people out now because he knows there's gonna be 40 offers on a house. But let's just cut the crap. if you want to, you sell your house for five, it should be, I'm going to sell my house for, if I get five, I wish people would say, if I can get 530 for my house, don't list it for 480 and run up, this market, $50,000. If you want to list it for 530, list it for 530 and be done with it.
Well, and why have a 2-hour open house?
Yeah.
Because you're just
horse
tripping
crap.
over people. And even if you're the agent that's in there are so many people walking through that house that you can't spend time talking to anybody.
I know. It's like a circus.
A busy open house when you're an agent sounds great, but it's very hectic because you're ending up going, oh, what the school district? Yeah. Hey, I'll get right back to you. Oh, here's a flyer. Go on, make yourself at home. Come to me if you got any questions. And you're just like, so you have to have somebody there to help you. And at the end of the day, you're just pulling your hair out. But a calm open house that's maybe 5 hours, and you're getting 5 people an hour coming through, those are muy bueno.
Yeah, I mean, buying a home isn't hard enough. Now you get all this circus, atmosphere, and you get people jazzed up, and I got agents call me, say I got to get this pre-qual in right away, and it's very frustrating. Thank you, Derek. Appreciate it very much. We try. And, it's just very frustrating on my end to see the circusness that's going on. I can see why, in my mind, people would say, oh, there's gonna be a crash coming. Cause you get the circus atmosphere and it's like, okay, this is not going to sustain itself. But once again, if you cut through the basics, all that circus noise, we still have a supply demand equation. And I was reading something here just yesterday or today, I can't remember what he was leading up to, but he says, you know what? People just have to be patient because maybe they won't be able to buy a house now, but maybe in the next, it's not in the cards right now, but next 6 to 12 months, just be patient. You might see that house. You might come across a house that has nothing. You get lucky once in a while. It's like a stock. If a stock market goes up, you're going to have that one undervalued stock that you can buy.
And there's no reason to panic right now if you're thinking of selling and thinking that we've already hit the top, things are coming down. I don't see any indication yet that I could see that. But here's a neat program I think I talked to you about the other day. It's called Curbio. Get homes market ready with $0 due until closing. This company will come out and fix up your home. You say, well, I need the bathroom done or I need the kitchen done. And they take a look at your home and they do a value estimate on it and the estimate of what the home's going to be worth when they're done doing their work. And you pay them at close of escrow, no upfront money. And I'm going to try to copy that and put it in. It's called Curbio.com, Curbio.com. And that's kind of a nice service. So because sometimes there's just things you need to fix and you're probably selling the house because you need the cash, but you don't have the cash yet. So these guys have solved that problem and come in and said, okay, we'll do a real deep dive analysis of your home's value, and then we'll make the repairs and you pay us when it sells.
Yeah. And it might be worth it.
Yeah. When they come in and do the estimate, you go, that's not going to work for me. That's okay. But it's, I think it's great. It says a seamless end-to-end solution so you can sell faster for more. Cause they always say, I don't know how many times I've sold a house and people go, yeah, I just don't like the light fixtures in the bathroom. It's one trip to Home Depot.
Yeah.
I was showing a rental. This is a funny story. I got some great clients from Southern California, and he owns several rentals up in North Central Phoenix. And they said, hey, Rick, can you do me a favor? We've got 2 appointments with people that want to come look at the rental. And we're in California. We're not there yet. Can you show it? I said, absolutely. So I'm sitting there and I'm just sitting on the steps. I lived real close there. So, it was no big deal for me, but this lady comes in and the whole place needed paint. So the first thing I told her when she came in, I go, now I got to tell you, they're going to paint everything neutral tones, every room. So what you see now is not what it's going to look like. She goes in the kitchen. She goes, well, I hate this color. I go, well, again, they're going to paint the entire townhome and everything. We go upstairs. She goes, ooh, green bedroom. Yeah. They're going to paint these in neutral tones. And so we're leaving. I said, well, what do you think? She goes, I just don't like the colors. I said, okay. I'm done with you at this point. I think I counted 5 times and I said, and they're going to repaint this thing. So the things that people let get in the way when it comes to appeal, and I
once,
get it, but spend the money. It's just,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I think once again, I think people that are patient, um, don't, if you keep your emotions and I mean, buying a home is an emotional thing, and you just got to keep your wits about you. I mean, the sellers. I mean, you've seen sellers like, well, you know, I tell, I get kind of caught in the middle between a seller and a buyer. I get, something like, well, I'm not, I had the agent call me and said, well, the seller won't accept these repairs. They're $1,000, or the buyer. It's sometimes it's the smallest, stupidest stuff that people get caught on. It's like, look at the big picture, people.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
had a
that's what
guy
people are not. I mean, people in this crazy time frame, it's just they're not doing it. But I one point to jump back to Tina Tambor, she said the biggest, I'm not to scare anybody here in Phoenix, but she said the biggest risk, you mentioned this before, is water, our water supply down the road.
Yeah, I think she did raise that question, but we're already seeing it in um, pine and strawberry. We
Yeah,
shared that a couple
that's
weeks
what
ago.
she said. Pine and strawberry, these second people are buying second homes. She goes, that might affect that type of marketability.
And Prescott.
Yeah,
Prescott's got a kind of an underground aquifer
yeah.
problem. So, it's going to be, a problem. The Glen, the dam that comes out of Lake Powell that goes into the Colorado River,
Mm-hmm.
generates enough power for 5 million people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be cutting back on the water that's flowing through there. So I don't know where we're going to get our power then. So,
Yeah. I mean, that's the
um,
thing. But no,
very interesting.
overall, I mean, just to sum up my end. I mean, rates right now are low to mid fives. I mean, who knows? I mean, they're saying with the rate hikes. I mean, my take on things is the Feds are going to do what they need to do. They're going to hike them, but then I think rates are going to go along with that. But then I think there's going to be a reckoning that the Feds are going to overshoot this, and they're going to they need to put bullets back in the gun, and that's why I think raising the rates are going to allow. That's them kind of putting bullets back in the gun, so that if they need to lower them, they can.
Well, I'm going to guess, and it's all I can do is guess, but I think they're going to try and overshoot to see what they can get away with because they can
Yeah,
always pull back.
yeah, they're putting. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
To your point, it's because I mean, because what did we come in yesterday? 11.2% when it
yeah,
comes to inflation rate. That's pretty bleak.
yeah,
Doesn't look like it's getting better anytime soon. But the other problem is that a lot of the inflation is simply supply side, but then majority of it is just too much spending and money was too loose for too long. And it's finally here. People have been
yep,
saying it's coming for a long, long time. And what goes up when there's high inflation? Well, gold, silver, commodities, food, and housing.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, you can't walk away from that. That's what's going to happen. And
I don't
how
think that's
we
going
get
away.
through this, I don't know.
I don't think it's going away. I mean, I think once again, not to get political. I think there'll be. I think things are going to be status quo. I think November, if they get a political shift, I think that might loosen some things up a little bit. That's my take on it. I mean, we haven't had anything to jar this market. I mean, people thought rates were going up from 3 to 5.5 would jar the market. Yeah, it's going to take the bloom off the tulip a little bit. But
Well, and then we had the question earlier about where do we think this is going to go, and I said, well, not even the professionals and the experts get it. And what did we read the other day that National Association of Realtors predicted that we're going to have a balanced market. Things are really going to slow down once rates get to 3.6.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we blew by that.
Yeah. And it hasn't balanced out yet.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't take any of these experts. That's why I think you and I we could sit alongside any expert any day and go toe to toe because, I've been in financial markets for 34 years, and I've yet to see somebody that's an expert. That's people want I know the average person wants to do things that makes them right, but I think what they have to do is sit back and say, what is the best decision that I can make today based on the information that I've got today? Can I afford this payment? Looking to buy a house, can I afford this payment? And like I said, once again, with rates, people are saying, where do you think rates are going to go? Well, once again, I said a couple weeks ago, I kind of came to the conclusion that if you lock in a rate at say 5 3/8, 5.5 today, let's just say, and rates go to 8, you look like a hero. And if you lock in at 5 3, say 5 3/8 today, and rates go down, you got a chance to refinance. So if you look at it that way, I mean,
if you can
correct me if
afford
I'm wrong, it makes it look a lot better, doesn't it?
Rate, it wouldn't scare me.
Huh?
So if you can afford it at the current rate, it wouldn't scare me. With no supply and demand, how do you think things ever change? With no supply and high demand, well, yeah, one of them has to move. One of them's moving slowly now, which is demand. And supply is barely creeping up. But I don't think we're going to see a pop in supply until this Wall Street purchasing backs off and Airbnbs.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of things too, they're going into it too, is obviously we have once again, we've said this a million times, but COVID, people, once again, I look at the refinances, people that refinance at 2 3/4, there's a chilling effect on this market. I mean, older people, back in COVID, people did not move from their home to a nursing home. They stayed at home. Right. I mean, people have refinanced at 2 3/4, 3, they're staying put. We're not seeing the velocity. All these things that have happened in the last couple of years, we're just not seeing the velocity of homes that we normally would. Because back years ago, people would buy a house for $250,000. I've said this many times, $250,000. The house goes up to 300, appreciates 5-6 years from now for 350. They sell that, they take that $100,000 and they buy a $450,000 house. But now, problem is, people are stuck because they refinance at 2 3/4. Yeah, they might have $450,000 in equity, but they're looking at the market and they're saying, hell, I got to buy $800,000 house and at 5.5%. So I'm just going to sit put.
Yeah. Realtor.com did a survey that found that there was something like 36% of homeowners were planning on selling in the summer. But by the time that survey was completed, rates were in the low threes. I don't think that number is going to be 36% now. I think that probably just turned around on them.
Yeah.
So hard to tell. So it's going to be interesting to watch. But in the meantime, everybody and millions of viewers, thanks for watching. And please hit that like button because it helps with Pat's bandwidth.
Yeah. And if you want, and once again, if everybody wants a copy, a Word document copy of that Tina Tambor, presentation, just gives you all that stuff that we showed, I can email it to them. So
yeah, and it doesn't put you on a spam list, so don't worry.
I'm not.
We're not collecting
I'll email
that
it to
so
them
we can text you,
so they can have them.
So
yeah,
but it's worth the read. I encourage.
Or text me. Yeah, text me your email. Text me your email if you like. So
sounds great. Have a fabulous Easter weekend,
Easter.
Pat.
Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.